Okay, it's happened. HDZero finally released a new version of their 1-watt Freestyle VTX, and it is not ginormous. We are talking same form factor as the DJI Vista, which a lot of drones have been designed around fitting this Vista style VTX in them. Everything from 5-inch Freestyle drones all the way down to 3.5-inch micros. Now, for some time, I've been cramming the older 1-watt VTX into the TBS Source 1. I had one briefly in an Apex Evo, and while it fits, you've got this honkin' VTX that's sticking out. There's connectors right here just waiting to get damaged. I've never felt really great about this implementation, so I was really excited when I heard that HDZero was releasing an update to their 1-watt VTX to fix that form factor. Is there anything else that's fixed? Not really, and in fact there's a couple of issues that I take with the new VTX format. Now let's talk about those briefly. Number one, I was hoping that maybe we would get some better thermal performance. If you've used the HDZero Freestyle VTX, then you know that that thing overheats like super fast, all right? Once you plug it in, you're really, the clock is ticking until we're in an overheat situation and it quits transmitting altogether. If you crash and you're trying to turtle mode out, it is a ticking time bomb until that VTX overheats and you're having degraded performance. Now, in my everyday use, is that really a huge deal? It really isn't, but I was just hoping that since we had multiple layers of aluminum heatsink in there, that it would do a little bit better. But on my bench, I've noticed that it is overheating about as fast as the old 1-watt VTX does. The nice thing that I really like that they did is, look here, on this side, no connectors. On that side, connectors for firmware updating so that I can easily plug in the cable for the firmware update or the remote control if you use that. Who does that anymore? But the connectors to the flight controller are right at the front where the MIPI cable is going into the camera, and then the RF connector goes at the back for my antenna. I think that's a really smart design. It works out well. It keeps things nice and clean. In this Apex Evo, I could have even bolted it down, but because of where I had installed the capacitor, it won't quite fit right. The next build that I do will 100% fit right, and I'll be super happy about it. The other downside for the new one, that it's a nuisance more than a downside, and that is the firmware update connector. It is not the full size one that you find on the 1-watt VTX. It's actually the small one that you find on the Whoop. I had to go searching through all of my stuff in order to find the connector that came with my goggles, or was it with one of the Whoop VTXs? I don't remember which, but there wasn't the connector for the firmware update in my packaging. Now maybe that's like pre-release stuff, I don't know, but I get the feeling that this is already ready to go, final consumer packaging, etc. So just so that you may end up needing some different connectors than you're used to or have on hand in order to update the firmware for it. Now, this rig, I've got the Runcam Nano 90 in here. I will be running it in 540/60 today. I've been messing around with the 540/60 and I've been really happy with the RF performance that I have been getting out of that. And this is capable of the 540/60, 540/90, 720/60, and I would assume that 1080/30, although I used it once to be like, gee whiz, it works, and it was so buggy, but that was like the very first release. I don't want to say that it is going to always be that buggy. I think they probably fixed it. I just don't care about 1080. I would rather have the lower resolution of 540 with 90 in order to get me the lowest latency, or 540/60 in order to get me the best penetration. So I am here at an abandoned school where I get to fly around all sorts of buildings. I have flown DJI in this environment. I have flown all sorts of control link and video links in this location. So I want to fly today at 540/60 around all these buildings and see if this is a viable solution for me for flying freestyle here. I know that with the 1-watt VTX, kind of what I could expect. I haven't actually flown the 1-watt VTX on 540/60 at this spot, but I know what I should be able to expect, and I ought to be able to hit pretty much all the spots with this setup that I was able to fly on DJI here. So Without any further ado, let's hop in the goggles and go for a flight. So, nice thing with Express LRS and when you have everything working with the backpack, etc., I'm just gonna go in here and I'm gonna select my settings for the VTX, send them to the goggles, and that should fix my, I don't know why I wasn't seeing it in the scan. Yep, now everything's up on race 1, good to go. We're set for race 1, max power, and all the configuration is good. The dog, I got a new puppy. This is Poppy, the puppy that you may see in the video here. She might bark at the drone as I take off. All right, anyways, here we go. Hey, Poppy. So this setup doesn't have a GoPro on it. It's a little bit lighter than my normal setup. And the tune is a little bit off. Now, I am flying behind myself, which isn't necessarily the best, but let's go over here where I'm really aligned for alarm bells are going off. That video is not the greatest. Okay, I'm just kidding. All right, so I've never actually flown behind this on DJI because there's not anything particularly interesting to fly right there. However, this is kind of the spot that I was curious about. Can I get to? All right, so we got that little nook. This is something that I have flown.
Telemetry lost. Telemetry recovered. Telemetry lost. Telemetry recovered. Telemetry lost. Telemetry recovered. Telemetry lost. Telemetry recovered.
All right, can I fly it? Yes. Is that fun to fly back there? Nope. I will say that I wish I had brought a DJI quad. Oh, that's not good. Okay, well, so I would say that test, it didn't look pretty, but to be fair, when I have flown DJI here, I will typically freestyle around this parking lot, maybe go back and try to connect some things from that awning section, but to fly the full extent of the awnings, I usually would go back to the back with DJI. I have lost DJI video in this same scenario. I would say that both of them are equally crap to fly at that range, which has been my experience with HDZero in general, that when it comes to penetration, the range is flyable to pretty much the same extent as DJI. At that location on DJI, I would have been dealing with a ton of latency and really blocky video. Now, just to redeem myself, I'm gonna fly one more battery, at least around the parking lot, maybe push around the other backside of the building, which I know I've reached on DJI as well, just to show that, hey, I can do this other section as well that has touched it, and redeem myself and feel a little bit better on this super windy day with some janky props on top of it. Thankfully, nothing was damaged. I saw where I had crashed and I was nervous about causing damage to the drone or the thing I hit, and so I didn't want to turtle mode out of it. I wanted to go get eyes on it. We walked around the back with the dog and it was fine. I just powered it on. I actually took off. It was on top of everything. So yay, fingers crossed that we don't have anything sketchier than that. All right, next flight. All right, let's see. Back on the backside of this building was also like the extent of what I could get with DJI. And it looks like, yeah, as soon as I dip down below the top, I pretty much would have to do the same thing on DJI. Like, I can barely make out the building, the system would time out, I would pop up above the building and get it back. So literally the same location is flyable on HDZero. If you go back to some of my earlier videos of when I first switched to DJI, you will see me flying at this spot with pretty much the same performance. Oh wait, what is it here? Is there anything? Oh yeah, that's the little alleyway down to the other side. Come in here, go out. Oh, look at that. I lost track of which angle I was looking to come back off of. Whoops. Oh man. Get it, Poppy. Tell that drone what's up. Get it! Kill it with barks. Seems like I'm getting some kind of interference here too. That is behind me. That looks like a little bit of electrical noise showing up in the video. All right, battery's dead. That is gonna do it for today. So overall, I am very happy with the performance of the new VTX. I will say I was seeing a little bit of electrical noise at the end when I got some beat up props. Now in the manual that Carl sent me for this, he did recommend that you connect it to a voltage regulator. I'm gonna be honest, a friend of mine hooked me up with this quad, Tidwell, shout out. I'm not sure whether it's soldered in to direct battery voltage or to a voltage regulator. So I'm gonna start picking that thing apart and figure out whether it is going through the voltage regulator. And if not, I'll connect it to that. And that should clean up any of the noise that I was seeing in the video. Not typically a big deal. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know for me, I'm gonna be switching over. Anytime I get a new HDZero VTX, I will be going with this guy. I know some people have said they've had durability issues with the Freestyle. That's not been my experience. I have got about half a dozen Freestyle VTXs and all of them are still going strong. Some of them have been crashed in water multiple times. Some of them have been like, they've gone through a lot and none of them have had any issues, and I really don't expect anything different from this. I'll let you guys know if I do end up having any issues with it, but for now, this is gonna be my go-to going forward, will be the new V2 Freestyle VTX. All right, hope you guys have found this video helpful, and if you have, please let me know in the comments, leave a like, subscribe, do all the things. I've got some new hotness coming to be tested out as well. I also got that new GoPro Hero 12, which I've been super disappointed about, which is probably why I didn't put a video out about it. I think I'm gonna return it. I'm gonna make a video first, but I'm probably gonna return it. Ugh. Anyways, hope you guys have a good one and go out there and fly some.